Welcome to your Robbins Regional Wrap, your one-stop shop for all your Houston County news. I'm Megan Western. Each week we're taking you through what's happening in Houston County, Warner Robins, Robins Air Force Base, and your very own neighborhood. And this week, Hurricane Melissa made landfall as one of the most powerful storms the Caribbean's ever seen. The storm hit Jamaica as a Category 5 and Cuba as a Category 3 hurricane. Many people vacationing in Jamaica were left stranded on the island, forced to ride out the hurricane. Jasmine Lee spoke with a local family stuck at a resort in Montego Bay, just hoping to make it home.
It was horrific to see how the roads were just washed out.
What was supposed to be a birthday getaway for Jametra Alexander's cousin, Tanya Mathis, turned into a week-long nightmare. Alexander, along with Tanya and her sister Lena, are stranded in Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa slammed into the island.
The mud everywhere. The beach was unrecognizable. The tops off of the trees. The pieces that were blown out.
Their trip, which started last Wednesday, quickly turned from fun to survival. Flights were canceled, rooms flooded, and power went out for days, leaving the women dependent on each other and hotel staff to stay safe.
It's been a lot of tears, a lot of prayers.
But for the family in Warner Robins, each day brings worry and stress. Calls and messages bring moments of relief, but every day comes with tears, frustration, and a constant fear of the unknown. Jametra's mother, Ambry Mathis, says she's relieved they're safe, but wishes she could do more.
I was very concerned and very worried, and the relief is immense to know that they made it through the storm.
While the women are safe now, Delta now says the earliest flight out of Montego Bay is November 2nd. The hotel's disaster rates, which helped lower the cost of their extended stay, but that ends Friday. For Jametra and her cousins, the wait is a daily reminder of what they survived and the uncertainty still ahead.
Being here, we felt like they really could have gotten us out of here, but I mean, we don't know what was happening, behind the scenes.
Until that flight takes off, they remain stranded. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Another family back home says they're grateful for every update, but for now they're left waiting and hoping for a flight home. Also this week, Houston County authorities arrested a 13-year-old Fagan Mill Middle School student. They're accused of threatening the school on social media. The post was made Sunday, warning of a possible shooting. Elizabeth Hunter spoke with Sheriff Matt Moulton about what happens next in the case.
I've got a daughter in Houston County Public Schools, and her safety is my priority.
It's a notification no parent wants to receive, that their child's school has been threatened.
We can't take those types of posts lightly anymore.
Houston County Sheriff Matt Moulton says the post was made on TikTok and then it was shared to Instagram. A parent reported the post to Fagan Mill's principal. Houston County Director of Safety Del Martin says this shows the importance of parents staying vigilant.
One of the things that we talk about in this district, if you see something, say something. And they did just that. They said something, they made us aware, and we quickly got on it.
Fagan Mill Principal Elizabeth Foster says there is no active threat, but they took extra precautions just in case.
We know that situations like this can be unsettling for both of our students and for our parents, and so just out of an abundance of caution, have extra police on campus today.
Moulton says investigators ran data checks on the phone of a 13-year-old student and confirmed that she made the post. Moulton says she has been charged with terroristic threats and disruption of public school.
Our number one focus is the safety of our children, and we're going to protect our kids if that's the last thing we do.
In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Sheriff Matt Moulton says the 13-year-old suspect will be held at a Eugenal Youth Detention Center until her case is heard by a judge. And this year, the Houston County Sheriff's Office says there have been 16 homicides across the county. 15 of them were related to domestic violence, taking the lives of victims as young as 2 years old. Community and law enforcement leaders came together this week for a domestic violence awareness event to support survivors in the community. Ellie Milliken was there to hear their stories and shares more.
On Saturday morning, law enforcement and different domestic violence survivors shared their story and told why if you see something, you should say something. Now, people are walking a mile around this track. It takes 7 laps and they're earning a purple popsicle stick to remember that they are never a victim.
Evil will not win.
Warner Robins Mayor LaRhonda Patrick addressed a crowd of people at the North Houston Sports Complex to call for an end to domestic violence. Law enforcement emphasized the importance of speaking out. Willie Robinson says he experienced domestic violence from his ex-wife for 10 years. But this June, it reached a breaking point.
When she got there, want to argue, I separated myself from the situation. I tried to leave the house. I left the house. I called the police.
After an argument, he left and says he didn't get far because his ex-wife allegedly attempted to run him over twice with a car. When he ran back inside, he says she came through another door with a knife and sliced him before police arrived.
I really feel like she really wanted me to die that day. So I'm so happy that I'm so blessed that I'm just a loss of words.
But today I'm okay.
Tara Ellis says she survived years of abuse, first as a child, then later from the man she married at 19. It sparked issues with addiction, and she lost custody of her children along the way.
Now I get to be a sponsor for women. It's incredible. I'm here with the Well Recovery Home right now.
Now Ellis is sober, has her daughter back, and found support through her church. All the survivors said there is always help for others like them. In Warner Robins, Ellie Milliken, 13 WMAZ News.
Organizers say they plan to host the event again next year. And Warner Robins is also taking steps to make your neighborhood safer. A citywide push is focusing on adding new streetlights and traffic calming devices, and the goal is to reduce speeding and improve the quality of life for your family. Jasmine Lee shows us how these changes could transform neighborhoods across the city.
When the city's speed limit signs didn't slow drivers down, one homeowner made his own. And as you can see, these two nailed to his mailbox have been here for years. A clear sign of how desperate people on Wynn Place are for drivers to hit the brakes.
Whoa!
This worry isn't new for Jeffrey Holden.
As fast as they run through here, somebody's going to get hit or hurt.
For over 20 years, Holden has lived here watching his street change over the years. Wynn Place used to be a quiet, dead-end street, but that changed after a 300-unit apartment complex opened in 2022. Now, cars barrel through the neighborhood. Recent traffic studies show 85% of drivers exceed Wynn Place's speed limit by at least 15 miles per hour.
You significantly changed the traffic patterns for that neighborhood.
To address long-standing safety concerns, the city of Warner Robins is using $24,000 in capital improvement funds to make streets safer. On Wynn Place, speed cushions designed to slow traffic without impacting emergency vehicles will be installed. In Robins West, crews will upgrade 13 existing streetlights and add 6 more, using LED features to light streets and sidewalks without shining into homes.
This is how we're utilizing those funds. Are things like traffic calming measures, street light measures, things that can be utilized to improve safety.
Both Holden and his neighbors say the changes can't come soon enough. Traffic, speeding, and trash have altered the feel of their streets, and they hope these improvements will make a difference.
We desperately need the city to create or build alternate accesses to that apartment complex.
Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
I've personally seen just how fast those cars go down Wynn Place, and it is surprising to see how quickly they're able to speed down that street. I know a lot of neighbors are excited about these improvements. The city says that crews are expected to start installing the speed cushions and streetlights in November. Another big change coming to Warner Robins roadways. Overnight road work is still underway on Russell Parkway. Crews are repaving the road from 6 p.m. to 6 in the morning through November the 2nd. Make sure to watch out for any updated signs. Of course, slow down in the work zones. Budget some extra times into your commute. Of course, this timeline could be altered by weather, so keep that in mind. And Warner Robins is making it easier to start businesses from home. City Council approved new rules to streamline permits for home-based businesses. They hope to give entrepreneurs new options with less hassle. Jasmine Lee shares how the change works and what it could mean for future business owners.
Hey, good morning. Welcome.
For Latrinka Davison Webb, this home is more than a house.
Here we have block area. They like to play in this area.
She's been running Faith Learning Home Daycare for 26 years. 6 children, toys everywhere, laughter filling the room. She loves what she does, and she loves doing it from home.
I wanted to create a very safe and healthy, playful space for the children.
But starting a business from home wasn't always easy.
Plead our case, so to speak, to the committee, and we had to wait a certain amount of days.
Post a sign, get neighbors' approval, and attend city council hearings. Sometimes it took up to 45 days or more.
Something that we've heard from residents about for a long time.
Now, residents have 3 options. They can hold a public hearing, collect signatures from neighbors, or send certified letters to property owners. Planning and zoning manager Darren Curtis says the change will help entrepreneurs get permits faster, some within 7 days.
What we're trying to accomplish is public notice. We want to provide the neighbors an opportunity to acknowledge that the request is being made to the city.
And for Latrinka, she's not thinking about her own permit, she's thinking about others, the aspiring entrepreneurs who can now build a business from home, control their space, and start faster.
It would keep people from having to go out into the world. They can create their own space.
Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, this new process is already in effect. Curtis says updated applications are now available for you on the city's website. And right now, if you live in Perry, you're facing higher water bills. The city increased your water rate by 7% this year, and now the base rate is $5.15 plus an extra 50 cents for every extra 100 gallons. Elizabeth Hunter talked with Perry's acting city manager to hear why he says that was necessary.
Every toilet flushed, every sink turned on is another gallon you have to pay for.
It's just depressing.
Robert Russell has lived in Perry for 40 years. He says the increase in his city service bill this year has become too much to ignore.
When I first moved to Perry, I could take $500 and pay my entire bill, the city of Perry, for the entire year.
Now he says $500 barely covers 2 months.
It gets real expensive to live in Perry.
Russell says their monthly city service bill is confusing because it doesn't include just water. It also covers sewage, gas, solid waste, stormwater, and fire protection.
Where does this fees get allocated to? How did they get originated, and when did they get originated, and for what reason they get originated?
Acting City Manager Robert Smith says all the fees on the city services bill are necessary to keep operations running smoothly. He says they had to increase water rates by 7% this year due to inflation and help pay for the new $50 million wastewater treatment plant.
We have to bring in enough revenues to cover our debt service, and we are looking at alternative mechanisms to cover the debt service associated with that project.
Smith says they are looking at charging a connection fee for new developments to offset future increases.
For their right to connect into our system, basically charge them a premium that would then be utilized to subsidize some of the costs of current existing customers and City of Perry residents.
Smith says the city makes no revenue off water and sewer bills. The service just breaks even. In Perry, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
According to the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, people in Perry pay the highest water and sewer rates across Houston County. On average, for 5,000 gallons, they'll pay $67 compared to $39 in Centerville, $30 in Warner Robins. Perry is not the only Central Georgia community dealing with water problems. Houston County Commission voted to increase the base water this year as well. The rate jumped about $5 with the charges starting in July. And food assistance cuts are directly impacting our local food banks right now. They're seeing more and more people these days as neighbors struggle to put food on the table. Ellie Milliken talked with one Houston County church that's extending the help.
Some staff and families at Cheerful Cherubs Preschool say they are feeling the effects of the government shutdown.
At least 30 off the top of my head, families that are directly impacted with either at least half, if not more, of their income that they're just not getting.
Some teachers' husbands work at the base and others see it in their classrooms. Danielle Christie is a mother and preschool teacher at the school. She says her family is not affected by the shutdown, but her school and community are. Now she sees people having to get food by different means.
My church also has a food bank, and we have definitely seen an uptick in families that are coming to just kind of get by. So I do know people that have gone to food banks that don't normally.
She says it's hard on the community since Robins Air Force Base is such a major employer.
They're supporting and protecting our country, and yet they're going to food banks just to feed their family. That just doesn't seem right.
Rick Westray runs the First Methodist Church's Brev Hunt food pantry. He says more families are coming in this month.
About 45 to 50 families every time we open the door, and about 120 to 150 people.
He says that's more than double the normal demand. And if the shutdown doesn't end soon, he expects to see more.
We're almost a month into it. It doesn't seem to be getting any closer. So I think in the next month, if by November, if things don't get settled out, I think I'll start seeing probably a lot more people come through.
Getting it settled is what Westray and Christy want to see. Christy is afraid it could soon impact the whole community, not just base families. In Houston County, Ellie Milliken, 13 WMAZ News.
Both pantries are part of First United Methodist Church. Families in need can visit the pantry on Tuesday and Thursdays. It'll be open from 2 to 4 p.m. at that address on your screen, 205 North Davis Drive. And community support doesn't stop there. The American Federation of Government Employees Union in Warner Robins says it's working hard to move information between lawmakers and its members. Earlier this week, the AFGE held an event to talk about problems that members are facing during the government shutdown right now. Elizabeth Hunter was there to hear how their members are coping.
The shutdown may be dragging on, but AFGE says its fight for federal workers' rights is not slowing down.
Will they have a job? Are they going to get paid?
Jeanette McElhaney, AFG's local treasurer, says every day that the shutdown continues, they see more members concerned.
They're wondering what's going to happen.
The union held a meeting Friday to hear their struggles.
This shutdown is completely different than anything that any of us have ever experienced.
McElhaney says this was an important step in being able to advocate for their members to state and federal legislators.
To let them know that the members of Congress is also fighting for their positions.
Military spouse Bonnie Evans says she can't just sit by and be quiet anymore.
I want us to walk out of it knowing that we got people to come to the table, from both sides of the aisle to bargain in good faith to get some results for us.
She says this shutdown is happening because leaders can't meet in the middle, and it's now affecting her family and thousands of others.
We have had to dip into savings to make sure our mortgage is covered, so we've really had to draw down on our budget to make sure that we're able to continue, making ends meet.
Evans says the only way this will end soon is if the American people start pressuring lawmakers, and she hopes the union can help.
We want to be at work working, and not just for the paycheck, we want to be serving the American people, and I think that we can all agree on that no matter who we voted for, and I wish that the people in Congress felt the same way.
In Warner Robins, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
McElhaney says anyone who needs help during the shutdown can reach out to them and they'll connect them to the right resources. You can reach the union local at 478-922-5758. That number at the bottom of your screen. Again, that number 478-922-5758. Now, as the shutdown continues, thousands of Central Georgia families say they're concerned about their finances, of course. A new survey from Equitable Financial shows 80% of Americans say they cannot afford a medical emergency. The survey cites the government shutdown as a major stressor for Americans. Elizabeth Hunter spoke with one Warner Robins family who's living that struggle firsthand.
It literally started to form as she started to form.
Amelia Hollingshed is only 1 year old, but she has already earned her battle stripes.
4 cycles of chemotherapy. It falls roughly like 90 or so days of treatment.
Amelia, or Emmy as her parents call her, was diagnosed this year with a rare form of germ cell cancer.
Her doctor was actually like letting us know she's actually the 3rd patient she's seen with this.
Emmy's parents, Ariellis and Wyman Hollingshed, say it was a shock to find out Emmy had this cancer before she was born.
Literally the first few cells that are formed as a human being.
Wyman says knowing there was nothing they could do to protect her was a hopeless feeling.
It didn't wait till she was here and then it started to form. It literally started to form as she started to form.
Emmy is in her 3rd round of chemo, and so far they are seeing good results.
The tumor, we can physically see it shrinking now, so that's just such a blessing. We praise God for that.
Wyman says they will always find a way to take care of Emmy, but the financial uncertainty can be a lot to handle.
Where do we need need to pinch at? Where do we need to pull this from?
Ariella says the federal shutdown makes this time that more stressful for her family because they don't know what is happening with pay and medical programs.
No parent wants to go through this. No child, should go through this.
In Warner Robins, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, the family says once Emmy finishes chemo, doctors will run new tests to decide what comes next. For now, they're just focusing on one day at a time. Many military families are taking it one step at a time, especially when it does come to this food insecurity right now as well. And sometimes a simple thank you just isn't enough to show your appreciation. And one Houston County family found a way to show their gratitude each year to teachers who help their own children succeed. Naomi Washington shares the story that comes straight from the heart.
Dr. Manoj Shah's children walked the halls of Houston County schools starting back in 1985. And even though they graduated decades ago, his gratitude for their teachers never faded.
I still really appreciate all the teachers, what they do for the student, and particularly the gifted student or AP student. They require so much work from the teachers.
Shown here on Zoom, Dr. Shah spoke with us from out of town. He created the Houston County Education Assistance Fund years ago as a way to give back. This year, 57 gifted and talented education teachers each received between $400 and $500.
They have $500, and the beauty of it is they can use it the way they want.
At David Perdue Elementary, teacher Dawn Hardy used her grant 2 years ago, and it's still making a difference.
It has enhanced my students so much that there aren't even words to describe.
She used it to buy a 3D printer for her second grade STEM students.
My students go, I can do this math because I can do that 3D printing with this. And so it excites them, it engages them.
They've printed everything from screws and hinges to story characters, turning lessons into hands-on learning.
Everybody has bought so different way, and when you read that letter, you feel like they really spend a lot of time to select the right thing for their students.
For Shaw, those letters and the students they impact keep this tradition of giving alive year after year.
Since starting the fund, Dr. Shaw and his family have donated tens of thousands of dollars to Houston County teachers. Each one who receives a grant can spend it however they choose, as long as it benefits their classrooms. Alrighty, before we let you go, let's get you caught up on some of the events that are happening throughout the Robbins region. Dia de los Muertos is a two-day holiday celebrated on November the 1st. You can honor the dead at the North Houston Sports Complex over the weekend. Despite the name, it's actually a celebration of life. Right now, you're looking at video from last year's fun. They'll have live music, they'll have some performances, vendors, as you can see, even some special contests happening. So you can check that out from 3 to 9 on Saturday, November the 1st, and from 1 to 5 on Sunday, November the 2nd. Again, it's happening over at the North Houston Sports Complex on North Houston Lake Road. And if you've ever wondered what it takes to be a firefighter, well, here's your chance to find out. The Perry Fire Department is inviting you to train like a firefighter. It happens on Saturday, November the 8th at 10 in the morning. Go ahead and put it on your calendar. It all happens at Fire Station 2 on Commodore Drive. See if you have what it takes to take on the department's real agility course, climbing stairs, dragging rescue dummies, raising ladders, and hauling hoses. It's all guided by those crews. You'll even suit up with the gear and take on a breathing tank through the whole course as well. The event is free and open to the public. Only the first 20 people to sign up on site can compete, though. Of course, again, you are welcome to watch. And don't forget, right now you can help the unhoused community throughout Houston County. The Warner Robins Fire Department is holding a winter warmth drive that'll help supply the Haven Hope House, Warner Robins' first city-run homeless shelter. They're in need of winter coats, gloves, hats, blankets, and new undergarments. You can drop off those items at any of the fire departments throughout Warner Robins. The drive ends on December the 12th. And don't forget, of course, that Election Day is Tuesday, November the 4th. There are mayoral races in Warner Robins, Perry, and Fort Valley. City council races in Centerville and Perry as well. You can also vote to continue a penny sales tax to support Houston County school projects. Find your polling location on the Georgia Secretary of State My Voter page. Alrighty, that's a wrap on what's happening throughout the Robbins region this week. If you have a Houston County story you want to share with us, go ahead and email us at that email you're seeing on your screen, news@13wmaz.com, and make sure you keep coming back each week to get all of your Houston County news and the stories that matter to you. Thanks for joining us.